my very first job was getting audio ready for radio broadcast. And technology's moved on a ridiculous amount since then. And we've reached this kind of weird point where AI is actually becoming a viable option. Now in this video, we're going to look at the pros and cons of the AI mastering options and someone like me who can get the end result thereafter. And just see generally if as an option for you, if it's viable and useful. So for the example today, we're going to use the Mixia service from DistroKid, and they're built directly into my distributor, which makes it easy for me to use them and show these examples. The pricing point of it is $99 per year for unlimited masters. And you don't just put a file in and get a file out, you can actually tweak it and adjust it to get the right result for what you're after, allowing for kind of some of that human element, but really it's still just algorithm. If you were to look at this as a cost-effect basis, to master my old 4-track album cost more than this unlimited mastering would be for a year. However, I was able to then get everything done exactly as I liked it because the human element was there and the artistic element was there. Now, when you upload your track into Mixia, what it basically does is it takes your audio file, processes it, and then spits back 15 different versions. So when you adjust the slider to get different versions, it's just already got it there in the bag. It's not adjusting it on the fly. What we'll do now is we'll compare the versions in Mixia to my master and to the original mix. All right, so in here we've got 3 files. The top one is the original mix. The next one down is the Mixia master. And the one below that is my master, the one that's pretty damn squashed. It was supposed to be a loud track, it is. Arguably, looking at the waveforms, Mixia has done a nicer job in retaining the dynamics. But let's have a listen before we make any judgment, because that's what actually matters. I've just got these LUFS meters down here in the bottom right, because I've just basically gain matched it like any platform would do. So they're going to play back at approximately the same loudness. So when we jump from one to the other, there's not a massive perception in difference in terms of loudness. Now for me, the Mixia one is just way too bright, even though it's the neutral EQ setting. But fortunately, we're not stuck with it. We can go back. So this time we could take the brighter EQ back, and my version was a lot more compressed. So let's bring that intensity up. Maybe we're now more in the ballpark. So let's download that and we'll add that into our comparison. So now we've got 2 versions of the Mixia one in, and we can compare those directly here and see what kind of difference it made. And it'd be interesting to compare it to my master. So I've just given it a quick LUFS match, so there's not a huge difference. actually done a really nice job there, which is kind of surprising for just a second attempt. Hey, if you wouldn't mind taking 30 seconds and throwing a comment down below to let me know what you thought about those results, I would genuinely find it really interesting. I thought that Mixia actually did a really good job after we'd had an objective listen and we could make a decision that that first one, the EQ was pushed a little too high and a little too harsh, and we maybe needed a bit more compression. Once we'd had that view on it, I actually think the second result was really, really good. Now, it doesn't hit exactly the criteria that I needed for this release, which was a much louder version to go out to CD. However, for streaming, it's done an incredibly good master, and I could still push it quite a bit further and louder. But if I wanted to do a master myself, push it out for CD, have it exactly how I wanted, and have an objective reference master, this tool is incredibly good for that. And I think I could see myself utilizing it for that kind of thing. I can pump something into it, get an objective mastered idea right back out nice and quickly, and know what ballpark and where I'm sitting with it. For the price point, it's probably worth it over the course of a year. And I'm potentially going to start doing the Warrior Sound beat tapes again, which I did in the past, because I'm sat on, I don't know, hundreds of beats right now that I just make on the fly in my downtime, because I love doing that and enjoying that process. And I think I could just feed those beat tapes into something like this and get a nice mastered beat tape session out, instead of spending dozens of hours doing it, which is the reason I don't currently have any of the Warrior Sound beat tapes coming out regularly again. I don't have the time to sit there and master them all. This could alleviate that. I'm going to test it out and see a bit more if it's worthwhile. But if you see a new Warrior Sound beat tape drop in a while, yeah, this is how I'm doing it. I want to hear your thoughts. I genuinely would love to know. If you want to know a little bit more about my own mastering process, you can check out this video right here, and I'll guide you through doing a master in Ozone and some of the things that I look for objectively. See you in that one.